Okay, but it's not that simple though. That's the thing. It's like if it was as simple as I've spent a lot of time. I've read a lot of books. I've listened to podcasts. I've done all this. I've had the conversations too, and I will continue to have more like this because I do think it matters. But like, it's just not that simple, and that's the narrative I hear from the pro Palestine side, like every single time. But that's not. It's not as simple as these people came in and oppressed and or genociding as other people. Like it's just not that simple. The way, yeah. So eventually, I do want to get to like we'll do this part first. We'll do this part first. So the way that I see it is, you can go back to around 1880. Around 1880, um, some paranoid Jews start seeing, hey, there's these new things called states happening, and there's atrocities sort of going around about a ton of different people, and it's kind of continuing to this day. If you're, especially in the Middle East, if you're a minority of any sort, not just Jews or Palestinians, it could be Shiite or Sunni. You could be the Kurds or the Coptic Christians in Egypt. Or it could be anything. But in 1880, um, these things called states start popping up everywhere, and a couple of paranoid Jews start thinking, "Oh my God! Like if we don't get our own place, like we're going to get murdered. Like we need to go home." And home is what is called Palestine at this time, um, called Israel thousands of years ago. I don't think we need to go over that part, but um, that's home for us. Like we need to get home, and at the time, it's actually considered pretty radical and anti-Semitic by Jews, saying, "Hey, no, I'm German, I'm Moroccan, whatever it is." And so a few thousand Jews go there, buy land legally. By the time that the civil war starts in 47, Jews own 7% of the land. The Palestinians own something like 13% of the land, about double, um, and the rest of it's owned by foreign people, like um, the Ottomans. Maybe there's some French or British owned land at that time, but when that time hits, by the time that the Jews own 7%, we go through the Holocaust, and now there's a bunch of refugees of war, not just the Jews, but of war, World War II, and I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there was basically a draft of, hey, who wants these refugees? And the first round, people got repatriated to their old countries, or they were allowed to go to countries that would take them in due to their skills. So this is a lot of German. A lot of the Germans got picked in this like first round of like, hey, this person's a skilled German, whether it be scientist, doctor, whatever. We will take them into our country. In that second round of picking, that was basically every other minority either got repatriated or got to go to a new country somewhere in, mostly within Europe, but it also, there were other countries outside of Europe that were taking in refugees. The only refugees left, literally the only ones left at the end of those two rounds of, hey, we were taking refugees, were about 250,000 Jews that had nowhere to go. Ones that tried going back to Eastern Europe got programmed. They got massacred. You couldn't go back to Poland, right? Like that wasn't happening. It wasn't allowed. So this guy Harrison made a Harrison. It's called the Harrison Report. He went in there and just tried to just tried to talk to these people, figure out like, what are we gonna do? And he asked them, hey, where do you guys want to go? Like, where, if you could go somewhere, where do you want to go? And they started explaining to him, well, we can't go back to where our old homes were. We can't get our old homes back. Can't go rattling around our keys. Like, hey, this is my home. You just get killed. 90% of them said, we want to go back home. We want to go to Palestine. And that was their first choice. By the time they got to their second choice on this survey, 99% of them said Palestine. The other 10% that didn't choose Palestine as the first, Israel Palestine as the first home, chose America. They all chose Palestine as the second home. The third most popular choice was death. I'm not even joking. The third most popular choice on that was, hey, we understand this is it. This is all that's left. No, there were not. I agree right now that there are millions. Hold on. Okay, yeah, yep. They did not. So okay, again, hold on. No, so this isn't true. This just no. There were riots. No, hold on. Time out. There were riots in the 20s. Okay, give me. Yeah, I know she is. I'll have to look into that story. I'll have to look into that story. Can I tell you at what was happening at a societal level in the 20s, and including what sparked the 1936 riots, um, the revolt. They wanted to. They wanted. There was such a big revolt. And by the way, I'm not even saying they're evil for this. I don't know the story. I don't know the story you're talking. You're they hold on. You're jumping ahead. That's not true. So hold on. You're not. Hold on, man. You're not listening, man. Again, you're not given a real history here. Like it's just not. This isn't a real history. There's a there's a book called Palestine 1936. It's really good. Highly recommend reading that book. Um, there's more research. There's more research to do, man. I've been researching this for years and years and years, and there's more research to do. And okay, do you think it has a? Do you think it has a? Yes, there is, man. Oh my god. Yes, dude. Because I know there is. I know what you're saying. Some of the things you've said, not all. Some of the things you've said, I know for a fact are not true. Like the fact that it was Jews came in and just started harassing. That's not true. I know for a fact that's not true. There was they were against it. Most of them. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying the Arab society. By the way, that's not evil of them. Every single native population, and I'm saying native as in I'm a native. Like, I'm not Indigenous American. I'm not Native American in the sense that we say Native American, but I'm from America. I'm native to Kansas. Like it is natural for every single native people that are born somewhere and been living there their whole lives or a few generations, to be, hey man, I don't want to be overtaken by a whole new ethnic group with different values and like I don't want this whole thing flowing into where I live. I'm talking about the Arabs living in the Ottoman ruled, British ruled Palestine. That is that is so when you so this is why I want to finish the story about saying like this is our people. This is our story. So when you say I have a problem with Zionism, not a problem with Jews, what I hear and what Jews hear are okay. So these 250,000 refugees of war that I was talking about that had nowhere else to go. There was literally death as they knew it. Like they knew it. It was death after World War II, or it was back home. What you're telling me is they were better off dead. Like if you're saying you're anti-Zionist and they should have been allowed to go back home, they should have been allowed to go back to Czech or Poland or America. Then okay, I'm with you. I'm anti-Zionist, but that's not what it was. It was But I'm talking post World War II. It wasn't. I agree. I agree. I'm not blaming them for it. That's not true. The Ottomans owned the land. There weren't. Yeah, because wars were fought, man. Because they lost wars. They started and lost wars. You lose land when you fight. I but they, I right now I agree that you're not gonna beat Israel in a war. It's part of the tragedy of it all. But like let's stay chronological order. I my heart does break for the Palestinians, and I don't blame them for the beginning of anything that happened. The blame that I would lay at their feet, which is also this blame to lay at Israel's feet right now with Netanyahu's government. They're causing it now. Yes. The problem came to them. I agree with that. It was bad luck, bad geography where they are, as far as 1880, to like. But it what but it what it's okay. Can we start back again? I want. What is you shouldn't be British? Okay, yeah. Okay, but they what is settler colonialism in your mind? Like, we're not staying in chronological order, which is unfortunate. But like, what? How is that like the Jews going back? By the way, there were Jews that always lived there, never left throughout everything. How is that like the Jews going back home when there's literally nowhere else to go? How is that the same thing? Jews lived as dhimmis, and they got massacred quite a bit. In fact, Hebron was a Jewish Hebron itself, which by the way, I'm not saying it should be Jewish again, because right now it's Palestine, but it was a Jewish city until all the Jews got massacred in the 20s. And they ran out. They got ethnically cleansed, right? Like who? Sorry. Yeah, I know Robbie Shaw. I think that's a great anti-Zionist, as far as like anti-Zionist resource. Yeah, Norman Finkelstein's a horrible resource. Norman Finkelstein, no, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's highly respected by your side of the argument. He's a terrible resource. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I don't respect Norman Finkelstein. We're getting so off topic here. Avi Schlemm's a good one. I'm able to admit when there's a good resource here. Norman Finkelstein is an unhinged, just un. He's he's meticulously written a one-sided, biased, untrue. Like if you read his books, and you look into his reference, like not his reference. I'm blanking on the word right now. But if you read his books and you look into like, okay, he's referencing this quote, I'm gonna go find this quote, and it's this whole page that of context that he's. You don't think that's your own. You don't think it's possible that's your own bias. But you do. You already told me you have a bias. You already told me you have a bias. Earlier when you were letting me know who you are. What about from a following standpoint? Weeks isn't, dude. Weeks is not for this topic, for any topic really. But for this topic, weeks and weeks of research isn't a lot of research. It's nothing. It's nothing, man. And like, and here's the thing. Also, like, there's. How about could the Israeli people be experts too? Can the Israeli people be experts on this topic as well? No, no. They're. Do you think it's possible that the Palestinian society is brain and the surrounding Arab society is brainwashing the Palestinian people? Is that possible? Is that possible? If the Israelis are brainwashing themselves, is it possible the Palestinians are? They absolutely do have control of media. They absolutely do. Dude, I did you did you see the October 7th videos? I have a point. I have a point. I'm coming to it. I promise. So you saw the videos and pictures of families getting burnt, the elderly getting executed, of the concert, of the kidnappings, of the Thai worker getting beheaded. All these things, right? Did you see all that? Okay. So, but if you go talk to Palestinians in the West Bank, which I have, they haven't seen this stuff. Why is that? Because there's a control on what they're seeing. There's a societal influence of what you're seeing, just like there is in Israel, by the way. Because like it's hard to find an Israeli. Not it's not super hard, but it's hard to find an Israeli. I can say, hey, there's terrorist attacks against the people in the West Bank and the Palestinians in the West Bank, right? Like that happens too. I come across them all the time. I come across them. Who are you talking to? Okay, okay, okay. Many that I know do not know it. Okay. Okay. I'm with. Can we? Let's get back on track. I have a question that like, no one on like this pro Palestine. By the way, I have a ton of sympathy for Palestinians. I really, really, really do. I can come on here and I can talk about like, hey, there are terrorist attacks against the Palestinians. There are settler terrorists that attack Palestinians, and this happens often. I have sympathy for that. I have sympathy for the Palestinians in the West in Gaza right now, the Gazans. I have a ton of sympathy there. I try and talk to them before October 7th. This is something that I care about. I can't say I have these super close relationships with Palestinians like I do with my family and my friends in Israel, but I have relationships there and I do care. So like I'm not trying to like just one side this whole thing, but the thing that I've literally never gotten an answer to, and I really doubt I will here too, but like I hope maybe I'm wrong. Like again, when I go back to the post World War II, after the Holocaust, I'm not talking about the Holocaust, I'm talking about after it. There's 250,000 Jews that have nowhere to go. And there's a Harrison report, I'll send it to you. They have nowhere to go. They know for a fact the only place they can go back is home, as in Palestine, Israel. The Jews, I'm talking about 250,000 Jews, refugees from World War II, that all the countries have already said, we'll take these guys back, we'll take these guys back. These people are left. There's nowhere to go. The ones that tried to go back to Eastern Europe got killed. There was nowhere to go. So I'm a Zionist, as in these people deserve to live. Who? Sorry. Yeah, I can bring it up. I'd also, I really do want to answer this. Like, okay, yeah, yeah. I really do want an answer to this question at some point. I've never gotten one. So here's okay. Um, I can tell actually, which is actually extremely surprising given how this conversation was started via Twitter. Of course, of course. But here's the question I just want an answer to that I've never gotten like what these 250,000 refugees and later on it becomes all the Jews in the Middle East, but just these let's just go with the European ones because that's the one you have a problem with. Um, the 200,000 refugees after World War II know they can't go home, like back home to Europe, as in they all know the only place left is Palestine, and they're gonna have to do it against British wants, by the way, because the British want to keep good relations with the Arabs. They're extremely restrictive on the immigration quotas. Where like when you say you're anti-Zionist, where is it? Would it have been better for these people just to die at these refugee camps, just wither away until they were dead? Is that the morally correct thing to do? Because the only other place they could have gone at that point in time was Israel, Palestine. It happened because of a civil war. But Zionism, you still haven't answered the question. Zionism, in my mind, when you're talking about Zionism coming over, these Europeans coming over, what this was, again, 250,000 refugees that have nowhere else to go. Would it have been better for these people to die? Knowing what we know now. Hold on. One dude, you got it. You still haven't answered the question. But that's the only other option is to go back home to Israel slash Palestine. Is to go back home, knowing what we know now. And by the way, what Jabotinsky and a lot of other thought leaders knew then is that hey, if we go back home, I know these people have nowhere else to go, and they should go back home. I am a Zionist, but it's gonna spark a war because no native people. I'm talking native as in I'm from Kansas. I'm a native Kansas. Like no native people are going to be okay with this huge influx of refugees, of it doesn't matter the refugees, of any ethnic group coming in and drastically changing the ethnic order of things, basically. Like, we know this is going to start a war because they're not going to be okay with it. But it's either this or die. It's this or die. So we're saying, when you say, I'm anti Zionist, to me, what I hear is, okay, these 250,000 Jews, it was morally better for them to just die than to go home and make a last stand. Make a last stand at life. Sorry, sorry. Yes, please. Also, Hakan, also, actually, okay, thank you. Hakam, actually, I want you to answer that. Thank you for answering that. Also, before you do, could you just tell us about your story real quick and who you are? Because I find it we all have a better conversation when we actually get to know each other a tiny bit. Whatever you want to share with us. How like, just kind of how you know Johnny, maybe anything at all. That is good to know. I just great. Okay. Um, I have been very pleasantly surprised by how respectful he is because the way that we actually and we'll get to the topic eventually, but the way that we got to be on this space call, I did not see this coming. But please, if you can answer the question of what was these 250,000 Jews post? I don't even care about the Holocaust. Post the Holocaust, they have nowhere to go. This is literally the only place they can go. Would it be have been morally better for them to just die? Like, okay, okay, sounds good. there were rapes there, but I can show you pictures. Of, stop, stop, stop. No, I mean, no. God, you've said so many lies. Okay, sorry. Go on. Go on. Okay. 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 You're denying it all right now. You you didn't welcome. No, oh wait, stop. I just let you go, and you said so many falsehoods. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Hold on. You said so many. Okay, okay. You don't have to if there's like something I kind of wish I did there actually. I didn't want to interrupt you, and I'm sorry I did once or twice there. Like I did want to as you were going, okay, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. I wish we could actually just like go point by point in what you were saying there. But let's start with as far as like there being propaganda of like a place a place with no people. What was the thing? I remember I've heard it too. A place. Yeah. Okay. So there's propaganda. Yeah. I'm with you. I know. Okay. 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 So there's propaganda for sure. There's propaganda today on both sides, right? Like there's propaganda. I'm with. There's no propaganda from the Palestinian side. There's no propaganda from the Palestinians. Dude, how can you say you're objective? Dude, you won't even let me talk. You won't even let me talk. You won't even let me talk. Dude, holy shit. How can you say you're objective when there's no propaganda? You're gonna. I've seen it too. I've seen it too. The Palestinian story, the story is all like the entire story. Like, there's just so many false. There's so many pieces of propaganda in the story. You have. You have. Like, yes, you have. The fact that you're saying the Palestinians, you're both saying, by the way, I'm not saying you're coming on here and lying intentionally. I believe you've heard this, but this is propaganda. The fact that you said the Palestinians welcome with open arms, that's not true. They worked with, during World War II, they were working with the Nazis. By the way, this isn't the Jews that defeated them. The British, stop. Let me go. This is true. This is true. The, the fact that Hitler had plans in Egypt to build concentration camps in Egypt and the Sinai. They had the plans ready. Britain defeated them in a battle. in northwestern Egypt. It was by Alexandria. Um, I'm trying to think of the name. Go. But the only reason I'm bringing it up, the only reason I'm bringing it up, is because you're saying they welcomed the Jews with open arms, and it's just not true. We can look at the 1930s revolt. They didn't. They didn't. There were the tension between Britain, America, and like the Western world, like the Arab world at the time, pre-Holocaust even, and but definitely during and post, was about like, hey, how many refugees can we actually let in without the Arabs getting super pissed off? And by the way, I understand being again, I don't blame them for not wanting to take in this group of people that nobody wanted to take. Like, I don't blame them for that at all. I'm not saying there aren't families that hosted refugees. I'm not saying that. Like, by the way, there's because I know someone here who's hosting a Gazan refugee from the war, but I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, look, my buddy's hosting. He's literally having this family, this Gazan family, live with him, and so like we're taking them in. No, that's bullshit. U.S. isn't taking in Palestinians right now. We're not taking in Gazans. Like, I have a buddy here in Chicago. I live in Chicago. I have a buddy here in Chicago who is hosting a Gazan family. Like not him personally, but his family is hosting a Gazan family. I'm not gonna say because of that example. I'm sure there's other examples like that in Canada and America, maybe across the world, that we're taking in the Gazans because no one's taking in the Gazans. I feel horrible for these people. Like they can't even find temporary refugee. Like it's horrible. Like but to say that America is welcoming the Gazans with open arms isn't true. And to say that it's I I have I have acknowledged what Israel like, but it's war. I don't. But the thing is, it's war. You know, you shouldn't expect. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. 100 years. 100 years of genocide. So, golly, it's all the same every time. I wish it was different, but it wasn't. Who was in 1947? Who was militarily in 1948, 1947? Who was militarily supporting Israel? Who gave them arms? Who? Nope, that's not true. Who gave? They armed a police force in the 30s because of an Arab revolt. They got armed. They got armed by the British. After the Arab yes, after the Arab revolt in 36, and then the Jews revolted in the 40s with the training that was provided by the British. But I'm saying in 47, 48, who was supporting them? I don't think it's a thing to be ashamed of. Like I don't think Jews fighting to live, to saying, hey, I exist, I deserve to exist, and I have to make a last stand on this earth anywhere. I'm gonna go back to Israel, make a last stand on this earth. Also, can you admit that in the 47-48 war, I need you to admit one truth that I say, I need it. Like in the 47-48 war, who was arming Israel? There was one place, and it was the Soviets. It was the Czechs specifically, but it was the Soviets. When Egypt launched the war, when they joined the war, after it stopped being a civil war and turned into like an Arab-Israeli war in 48, Egypt even stated, we're launching this war to defeat communism. Like, like There was one place, and it wasn't America. America had an embargo on them, and America had an embargo on them because they thought, you know what, this isn't really worth the. I just you just jump to one thing after I'm trying to you just to speak the truth about you jump to another thing. You jump to another thing. You jump to another thing. The Arab Revolt didn't. There was no there weren't armed Israelis when the Arab Revolt happened. They were not. Not to the extent of like police force. Like a police force was formed during the Arab Revolt. I I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. My problem with it is that so we have the Haganah who they formed in the 20s, right? Hold on, so you've been sitting silent for a while. So you can speak whenever you would like. But I'll get back. Hakam's been sitting silently, patiently for a while. Like, oh, sorry, am I mispronouncing your name? I apologize. Oh wait, oh, did he lose his speaking privileges? Is that why his hands raised? I thought he was just sitting silently. Um, I'll get him on. Sorry, Hakam. I know you were sitting silently there for a while. You can speak. Yeah, no, I'm happy. Sorry, we do keep going different directions. But we are. That's so to, to okay, but what I but on that note on that I like that point. I like that point you just said. The the actions carried out in the name of Zionism. There are actions carried out in the name of Zionism, such as settler terrorism, that are horrible, and it's in the name of Zionism, and they're trying everything they can do. This is a minority, but an extremist and dangerous minority that has control of parts of the Israeli government. People like Ben Gvir has an aide who literally said, the only problem with the Nazis is that we were on the losing side. Like that's insane. Like stuff like that is horrible, and it's terrible. But yeah, I know, and it's terrible, and it's a problem. And if we want to talk about that, I'm here to talk about that. But the thing is, what I have to do, and the thing is, I know so many Israeli Jews that would love to have this conversation. Like this is what Haaretz exists for. Haaretz exists for this conversation. But hold on, real quick. You can ask me a question in 1 second. I just want to finish this point. 1 second. And then the thing is, like, what I have to do constantly is just try and fight and debunk this other narrative that's just not living in reality. And if you, when you say it's it's the acts carried out in the name of Zionism. When my people, I'm not saying I look at Palestinians this way or look at the Palestinian flag this way, but there are a lot of people who would, look at the Israeli flag or the Jewish Star evilly. When my people, a lot of them, see the Palestinian flag or see the cause of Palestine, what we see is the cause of Palestine is to wipe out the Jewish state. And when Hamas, who's dedicated to that, and Hezbollah, who's dedicated to that, gets support from around the world, I'm not saying you're supporting them. That's what we see. But that's what we see. You don't understand what I'm saying? Oh, brother. Go listen to what they say. Go listen to what they say. No, 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 dude. You're saying I'm brainwashed. I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. That they updated the charter. We're fine with Israel existing. No, dude. Go listen to them talk in Arabic. Go to memory. MEMRI. They'll translate everything. Like, dude, they say this thing to the public, the Western public, to gain support, and it's like it works. And they know what the West wants to hear, but you can't that's not what they're about. They say it when they talk in Arabic to their own people. That's not what they're about. Yes, you think Hamas doesn't have a problem with Jews? What do you think would happen? What was the goal of October 7th in your mind? I think it depends on who you're talking about. It depends on who you're talking about. I think there is a large contingent of people in the pro-Palestinian movement that are against Jews. I think anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism can be different, but most of the time, vast majority of the time, it is not. And in practice, if we're talking about in practice, like in the actions of Zionism, in practice, anti-Zionism in 2024 and 2023 is inseparable from anti-Semitism. In practice, if you're saying this country shouldn't exist, it is inseparable. Dude, you just keep jumping to you every time I try and make a point, you just keep jumping to the next point. Stop. Hold on. You've both said this now, and it's such a crock of shit. And it really this actually does bother me as a Jew. I'm not Jewish because of my religion. I'm Jewish because I'm 100% ethnically Jewish. I'm Ashkenazi and Mizrahi. It's an ethnic group. It's an ethnic group. You can't stop. It's an ethnic group. You're telling a Jew what it's. Stop. Hold on. Stop. No, you can't be ethnically Muslim, but you can be ethnically Egyptian. You can be ethnically Arab. Holy shit. Holy, no, hold on. Here's the problem. Y'all don't even live in reality. I was a Jew telling you my ancestry test tells me I'm from Northern Africa and Ashkenazi and Levantine. I'm 100% Jewish. Holy shit. This is crazy. Every time. Every time. No. No, I don't think that. I I think you're misguided. I know you're misguided. The fact that you can't dude, you can't even say Jews are an ethnic group. We have a Jew sitting here telling you I've taken an ancestry test and my thing says 100% Jewish. I'm Ashkenazi, I'm Mizrahi, I'm these other things, but I'm an ethnic Jew. Most Israelis are secular Jews. Exactly. but but this isn't the same thing as all those. Any example you want to say isn't the same thing. But you're completely misrepresenting. But you're completely misrepresenting the story. Like when you say you are, dude. Yes, you have. Yes, you have completely. You eject like any serve that narrative. You eject it, including the fact that I'm a fucking ethnic Jew. You reject all of it. Anything. Oh my God. It's not just a religion. That's yes, Islam is a religion. Christianity is a, being Arab can be an ethnic thing or a race thing. Being Egyptian, holy shit. You can test you can test our genetics. Jesus. Yes, yes, sorry, go. What? No, what? Oh, okay, 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 okay. No, it doesn't. No, it how? How? How is that? How can I take? So wait, what does it? What ethnic groups do exist? What ethnic groups do exist? You're not gonna answer that because it's gonna debunk your whole argument. This is so insane. Arabs are an ethnic group. No idea. That's a race. That's not an ethnicity. That's a color. Yeah, sorry. No. Um, yeah, I do have something at 5. I need to prepare for it. But yeah, I'll bring him up to you. I'll bring him up to you. And by the way, I'm happy. Sorry, you can 1 second, Calm. I'm happy to do this. I mean, I'm frustrated. Don't get me wrong, I'm frustrated, but I'm happy to talk. I don't. I think it's the only thing we can do is to get closer. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Calm. It might just be on my end, but you're coming through breaking up, Johnny. Hey, let's let Chris go because I don't have a ton of time left. Okay, hold on. so you're asking about like Jewish tenets, like so. There's I get that 'cause I have this conversation with my Kansas friends. All I'm from Kansas originally, and like they're very Christian, religious people for the most part, and they don't understand this either. And for me, being Jewish, and for most Jews, it's not about believing in a religion. It's like asking a Native American, an Indigenous American, a Native American, like it's like saying, "Oh no, you're not actually a Kansai Indian because you don't believe in the spirituality of the Kansai Indians." It's like no, like what are you talking about? This is my tribe. We have a history. There's a culture that comes from that history, just like other groups have cultures and spiritual dealings in religions and whatever that come from that history and cultures that come from that history. But it's not Israel. Israel isn't. I'm not here to argue Israel is the most moral country to ever exist. I'm not here to argue that they follow Jewish commandments and all these things. Like I'm here to say they have a right to exist. They should exist. The story of them coming into existence, while not perfect, while there were definitely far right communist elements of it. Communist would be like a Jewish version of a Nazi, basically. Elements of it from the start, from the beginning, that did exist, but also there were peace-seeking people that just wanted to fucking exist, and like that's it. And this is where they had to go to make that last stand. By the way, it's where we're from. Like so here's where the whole I get what you're saying, but it's not like again there wasn't an option of hey there's this empty piece of land. They used propaganda to say a piece of land was empty, but there wasn't any empty piece, and this is where we came from, and like there wasn't. So so what about the Israelis now? When people rattle their keys, I don't understand. What do you guys want now? For sure, for sure. I talk about that. It was the deadliest year. It was deadliest year in Palestine. I've never heard a single mainstream media person say things were all great prior to October 7th. I've never heard that. Also, relatively speaking, things were pretty peaceful, right? 234 is 234 too many. I'm with you, but like I know Piers Morgan. Yes. But there's a good reason for that question. Holy shit, he's a paid Israeli agent. Everyone's a paid Israeli agent. Everyone that doesn't just automatically and fully admit to your narrative, which is full of falsehoods and full of fucking just bullshit, It's just a paid Israeli page. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Okay. That's not the argument. No one argues. So this again. This is no. This is no. Hold on. Time out. Time out. This is a conversation that y'all have in between yourselves. Is this is a pro-Palestinian talking point that's only said within the pro-Palestinian? Hold on. Time out. Yes, it is a talk. The this didn't all start on October 7th. Is a talking point that is only said between you guys. No one would ever say. No one on mainstream media. No Israeli, no Jew has ever I've ever once heard say, you know what, this all started on October 7th. No, what happened on what happened on October 7th, dude? You gotta let me talk. You gotta let me talk at some point. Yeah, they suck. Hamas did start this war on October 7th. Okay, Hamas did start a war on October 7th. So we were at war on October 6th. You could give that argument. I would say you're wrong. I'd say that's not why that happened. But like that's not. No. I'm not. I'm not. No. I'm not saying that. No one's saying that. No, on October 7th, what happened on October 7th is it's not where everything started, but it is a point in time where everything changed. Everything after that moment changed because it just it wasn't an event that changed everything, man. It just wasn't like who I don't who is putting this in a vacuum? Like what happened on I have no idea well, I guess I don't pay enough attention to the mainstream media, so to speak, but like I have no idea. Also, the fact that you can sit here and say no one cares about Palestinian lives, like I understand that you're coming out that because like they are suffering from a war. I know you think it's a genocide, but they are suffering from a war, and majorly suffering from it. You can't even let me talk. You can't even let me respond. They did. That's not starting. Okay, that's wrong. I'm with you. If we would go case by case, I bet almost every single one of those is completely wrong, and I bet a lot of them did not get handled correctly, and all those things. But that's not. But that's not fucking national war, man. A war started on October 7th. Yes, I can say that. That action was an action of war. No, no, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm saying October 7th was an event that changed everything. It changed. It changed. What, dude? The Palestinians would love to get the death count to 234 deaths. It's horrible. Again, all those deaths, horrible. But tens of thousands of Palestinians are dead now. Everything changed. Everything changed on that day. That was an act of war. Of a war, not of the conflict, not of everything that's happening in that region, but of this current war. Yeah, that is the starting point of this war. That's the day this war started. When did this war start? When did this genocide start? It's not a genocide, but when did this genocide start? Because they're fighting a war. Because when I went to Israel to volunteer after October 7th, there were rockets coming at us. No, 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 I'm not. A war doesn't have to be fair. Also, like in 19, like, it's not. I'm not saying that. Every time, man, it's two two state-like parties, state or state adjacent parties, with a goal of defeating the other one in a relative tit for tat manner, where civilians on one side or the other could be expected to be killed as. So they're gonna fight. So they're gonna fight their war with it. What are they resisting? What? No, no, no. Answer the. I answer this question. What are they resisting? What is Hamas resist on two? Okay, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have. Yeah, you're just living in a different reality. But we're gonna have to come back. Hold on. I'm happy to continue this conversation another time. I have to jump at 5, and this is gonna blow people's mind if you've been listening to this conversation the whole time. The reason we're having this conversation, I want you to tell me how the fuck you ever got to this conclusion. The reason we're having this conversation right now is because you said Israel did 9/11. I know this is a complete pivot. Rudy, man, if you're listening to this, oh my, listen to this. It's a fact. Israel did 9/11. That's a fact. They greenlit 10/7? And you think I'm the one that's brainwashed? Israel. So Bin Laden. Chris, do you agree with that take? Colin, do you agree with that take? I'm just curious. That Israel did it. Okay. What is your evidence for this? Oh, that's convenient. Me? I haven't removed a single thing. I have this whole thing actually recorded. You can see my hands in it if you want me to send it to you. I haven't removed a single thing. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea. I haven't removed. I haven't touched anything. I no. Who's Larry Silverstein? Oh, the insurance. I've heard this insurance thing before. They have insurance on the building because guess what? A bunch of jihadists tried to blow up the building in 1993. Yeah, you're gonna get insurance on that building after that. That wasn't them either. That wasn't them either. Why did Bin Laden take credit for it? You're saying Israel did 9/11, and I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Also, how can you sit here and say you don't hate Jews and you don't just hate Israelis for being Israelis, and you say stuff like this? We are the same thing, man. 95%, 90 to 95. No, they're not. There, yes, you've seen plenty of them on Twitter because they blow up on Twitter because they get a bunch of followers from people like you. I've seen it too. I've seen it too. Man, 90 to 95% of us are Zionists. Yes, you can give a whole list. I bet you can get a list of 5,000 people if you really wanted to. There's 15 million Jews. Like, but most of us are. 90 to 95% of us are. And that other group are just fringe people. Please share the clip. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. No, I don't acknowledge that. What do you think APAC is? Now, hold on. Actually, no. God damn it. You're getting me off topic again. No. I want to talk about how you think Israel did 9/11. How Bin Laden claimed credit for this. And he talked about why he did it. About, he wrote a letter about why he hates America and why he wants to kill America. Part of that was support for Israel. Holy shit. Ryan Dawson? Oh my lord. Okay, dude, like you just like, this is insane. This is insane. No, it doesn't. But just Ryan Dawson doesn't just present factual evidence. There are certain. You're telling me I should go believe Candace Owens. You watch documentaries, so you know. What we should do is we should hop on actual stream. We can stream it to Twitter. We can stream it to YouTube. We can watch this documentary. We can hit pause. We can go check. We can do this for 8 hours. We can take a 3 hour documentary for 8 to 9 hours and really check everything. And what you're gonna find is that this is absolutely insane. This is absolutely insane. The fact that you think Israel did 9/11 is, oh, please don't say that, man. When did you decide this? I'm curious. When did you decide that Israel did 9/11? In the last year? So yeah, in the last 12 months, you've also figured out that Israel did 9/11 while Israel's committed this genocide. You don't have a bias. You don't think you have this insane bias as guiding your actions and thoughts. Like you really don't think that. You think I'm the one that's. You don't think it's possible. Okay, I'll try and find. I don't even know how to find a video in the space. Picture in picture. More. Dude, you can. My whole screen has been shared this entire time. You can go look it up. I'm not removing anything from your thing. Yeah, we. Okay. All right. For sure. Then I do have to go. There were Jews that were faced. There were Jews that were faced with a choice. Again, we don't live in the same reality. That's really the issue here. Is that I live in reality, and you guys live in a different story. You're the guy that says Israel did 9/11, but I live in Disneyland. So here, to answer your question, I can't find it. Maybe after the I don't. I'm looking for my mentions, my verified. Again, this is all streamed live. But what you're like, there were a handful of crazy Jews that thought, hey man, we might get executed and murdered again, like we have. I'm getting there. This is the answer. So we might get executed and killed again, as we have time and time again throughout history. That happened around the 1880s. So they started buying land, moving legally to, and you could say it wasn't the British to sell or the Ottomans to sell or whatever, but these are the people that owned the land. So started buying land, moving legally. A tiny, tiny portion of people, a very small portion of people moved there, ended up being correct. A Holocaust happens, and now there's 250,000 people that have the choice of dying and withering away at these camps, or going to Israel, Palestine, and fighting for their lives and fighting for the right to exist. That is what that is. Some of them, through that experience, were honest. Some of them weren't. Most of them weren't. They're like, like that's the answer. There's your answer. They've been fighting a war the last 70. Like, how did it? How? I get what you're saying. Any one of us would do the same if you were in the Jewish situation. You'd say, "Hey, I want to exist. I deserve to exist. My kids deserve to exist." And if you think you're about to go kill me and throw me back into the sea, no. The answer is no. That is what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying. When you're saying Jews do not have a right to go back home, the only place on planet where they can find any sort of safety. Sorry, so if it cannot come at the expense of other people, then they had no right to live, because this is it. This is the one place they could find safety on the planet. This is the one place on the planet they could find safety. This is it. But that's the choice. But that's the choice. The choice is you wither away and die. You wither away and die, and you cease to exist, and your kids die, or you go to the one place on, or hold on, you go to the one place on the planet that you can make a last stand and fight for your right to exist. It is the one place on the planet. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. That is in the Harrison report. It's just the real factual story of what happened. So you can say, hey, this is a moral quandary. And maybe your answer is, you know what, I commit suicide. But that's not mine. And it wasn't the Israelis. But when you're saying they don't, so how did the Palestinians get there in the first place then? How did the Arabs get there in the first place? Out of Arabia. What did they do to get into that land? And then all of a sudden, there's 250,000 people that have nowhere to go but to die unless they go back home. Dude, you think Israel committed 9/11? I gotta go, man. I gotta go. We're way over. Okay, I have 2 minutes. What's the question? In 1948 they were there. They split the land 50-50, and the land about it was 55, it was 55 for sorry. It was 55-45. They gave them 55-40. They gave the Jews 55-47. 53-47 Jewish favor, correct? Chris said it. It was around 55-45 with the Jews the majority of the land. The land that they gave the Jews was most, by the way, you won't listen. 55%. They gave them the Negev. There's nothing in the Negev even to this day. Most of the land was the Negev. That was most of the land. Yeah. What do you mean? That's what do you mean? That he couldn't go back to his home? Yeah, I'd say it's wrong. I'd also say it's complicated. Jews weren't allowed to go back. Jews weren't allowed to go back to their homes in Poland. They didn't rattle their keys for the next 100 years. I you couldn't just convert to Judaism tomorrow morning. That whole process is insanely long. Also, you probably wouldn't if I were to go through your Twitter history. They probably wouldn't accept you in. But yeah, no, if you're somebody who comes from a nationality that was born on the fact of we want to kill your nation, yeah, you're not going to be allowed in. Even if you're somebody that's fine being an Israeli citizen, it's not anymore, man. It's not anymore. Tel Aviv isn't their land. Dude, they tried to. What do you think October 7th was? October 7th was an attempt to get Hezbollah and all of their buddies to also gather in, overwhelm the Israelis, and destroy the Jews, and destroy the Jewish state. Like, that's what this is. You're laughing, Chris, but that's exactly what this is about. They've admitted this. They found the documents. They've admitted this. Like, Hamas is admitting the things that you can't admit to. This is insane. Constantly. Constantly. All right, I have to go. I really do. We're 20 minutes over. We're 20 minutes. Chris, I'm happy to answer all the questions another time. I do have to go, guys. I have to go, guys. I have to go. I'm not running. I have a fucking life. I have to go. Jesus Christ, I've given you 45 more minutes than I was thought I was going to here. Like I have to go. Man, you said Israel committed 9/11. I have to go. I'll do it again another time. I'm not running. You ridiculous humans. It's Yeah, and I do have to go. I do have to go. Also, man, it's late. It's late for you. You gotta go to bed too. I have. I have. I have. I have. I'll go through it. This is all on YouTube. I don't know if I hope you guys are on YouTube as well. Like your voice is. I'm not sure if it's actually coming through. If it's just my voice coming through. But I'll go through it again and I'll look it up. I'll pause and I'll look up each fact I said, each fact you said, but also every lie that you guys said. And I'm not saying you're lying intentionally, but somehow I'm brainwashed. The guy that thinks Israel didn't do 9/11 is brainwashed, and you just know everything because you don't listen to fucking BBC or something. I don't recognize that. I think it's a horrible war. That's what I want to come to an end. Okay. All right. Good night. Thank you for being respectful. I knew this was going to get to this, but thank you for being respectful. Good night. You too. You too. Have a good one, everybody. Wow, that was ridiculous. Okay. Oh my god, that was insane. It's just so great. I hope that got shared. I know my stuff's being shared to YouTube right now. It's my YouTube. I hope that got shared of their voices because oh my gosh, I haven't done that in a while, and now I remember why I haven't done this in a while. All right, peace, everybody.